I feel like Willy Wonka telling you this. Quick, do something, Wonka. Okay, help, stop, police, help. Like he's just tired of this nonsense. I feel the same way, when I'm about to tell you this. Carmageddon, all three major automakers or auto markets contract year over year for the first time since January 2009. Really? Right in the midst of the last major recession. You don't say. No, stop, don't. Tell me it's another date. Zero Hedge covering this naturally. Well, kind of. If the page was not locked up at the moment. What the? Hang on. Try that again. For the first time since January of, you guessed it, 2009, sales of cars declined year over year in all three of the world's largest auto markets of Western Europe, 6.8%. Well, Western Europe is 6.8% down. China, 1.8% down. And the U.S., 3.7% down. Combined, these three markets account for roughly 70% of the world's auto sales. And while auto OEMs spend the first part of 2017 ignoring the growing signs of trouble facing their industry, some are finally starting to admit that all is actually not well in Autoland. As we noted a couple of days ago, which they have a link here, see How Is This Not a Recession /10% of global workforce. Ford just announced plans to cut about 10% of its global workforce. Meanwhile, Nissan Motor is forecasting a surprise drop in profit this year, and Toyota Motor expects an 18% decline as well. 18? That's right. As we've been saying for months, this is likely just the beginning of what may be a very painful several quarters for the auto industry. Let me just say something here, because I kind of mentioned it in my first video of today, my little playlist. And I said the last recession, right, we had the markets go down, everything came down with it. Housing came down, people lost their jobs, that came down, the jobless numbers started to get really bad. Again, food stamp usage, 24 million, jumped up to 40-something million very rapidly. Basically, so it's like cause and effect, right? Markets and all happened, cause and effect. Right now, we're seeing effect and not the cause. Markets are fine, markets are rallying, man, everything's good, no problem here. But the effect is as if that did happen. So we're having a reverse effect and cause kind of a thing. Doesn't make sense. Of course it doesn't. And it never will when you have central banks of the world, again, with quantitative easing, bond buybacks, mortgage-backed security buybacks, bailouts, backdoor bailouts, bail-ins happening all over the world. You're still having the fallout, but you can't really, there's no singular event. What caused this? But the numbers say they're good, but they're really not good. That's what happens when you have government and central bank intervention. Nothing makes sense, but you do have real casualties. And you can see the real casualties. But they're telling you there's no casualties. Look at these numbers. These numbers are fine. But I just saw 10,000 or whatever the actual number. There's matter of fact, there might be 20,000 people that got fired from Ford because I think their workforce is 200,000 strong. 10%, that would be 20,000. Whoa. So, anyway, what else could go wrong? Here's a short summary from Morgan Stanley's auto team, led by Adam Jonas, of the things that could cause used car prices to crash. Whoa, by up to 50% over the next 4 to 5 years. I was gonna say my mind might not be too happy. I think I got that damn electric car a little too early. It's a $30,000 car. I got it for 10 grand. It's 2 years old, 14,000 miles. Come on, it's a sweet deal. But wait a minute. If I would have waited 4 to 5 years, according to them, I could have got it for 5 grand. No, maybe. remember all the lease cars coming on the market, pushing the used car values down? That's going to be a crap storm of its own. So anyway, that of course will probably not be good news for new car prices either. Executive summary: flood of supply, poor lending standards, and desperate OEMs who need to keep new car sales elevated at all costs. Off-lease supply. This has already more than doubled since 2012 and is set to rise another 25% over the next 2 years. Extended credit terms, my favorite actually. Auto loans are at record lengths and lease assumptions, residuals, money factor, are at record levels of accommodation. Again, get a 7-year loan, get an 8-year loan. Lick a schnozberry, it tastes like a schnozberry. Rising rates, starting from record low levels in auto loans. Over-dependency on auto ABS, the outstanding balance of auto securitizations has surpassed last cycle's peak. Record high deep subprime participation. That's not good. Again, subprime is what, Jason, for? Subprime means it's a borrower with a credit score below what they should have to get a car or any particular loan that we're talking about, and they're below that score. They have no business getting that car or loan, period, whatever the loan may be. That is a subprime borrower. Okay? Record high deep subprime participation. 32% of subprime auto ABS deals were deep subprime. Weighted average with the FICO score below 550. Ooh. In 2016. 32%, okay, versus 5% in 2010. 32% as of 2016, 5% back in 2010 of those kinds of loans being going out, those below standard subprimes. Is that a tiny increase, would you say? Yeah, a pinch. Record high units of new car inventory, 2016. Year-end unit inventory levels were near 10% higher than 2015 year-end and are continuing to trend higher in 2017. OEM price competition. Car manufacturers have capacitized to a 19 millimeter, or was that month to month? What is that? 19 mm or 20 mm SAR. Whatever. At this point in the cycle, it ain't no damn millimeter. At this point in the cycle, we start seeing more money on the hood to move the metal. Another, again, incentives, record incentives. As new car prices fall, used prices look relatively more expensive, which necessitates a decline in used prices to equilibrate the supply and demand imbalance. Increased ADAS penetration, whatever ADAS stands for. We expect auto firms to achieve nearly 100% active safety penetration by 2020, creating an unprecedented safety gap between new and used vehicles, accelerating obsolescence of the used stock. Rising insurance premiums on older cars could accelerate this shift. And finally, trouble in the rental car market. Due to a number of secular shifts, including how consumers access transportation options, such as ride-sharing or even Uber these days, car rental firms are facing stagnant growth, weak pricing, and overfleeted conditions. As these cars hit the auction, again, the impact on prices, pushing them down, could be significant. And here are the stats. Off-lease volumes have already doubled since the year 2012 and are only expected to get worse. Meanwhile, lending standards have gradually gotten worse and worse. How is this not going to end well? Well, who knows. As further revealed by the growing share of deep subprime loans in auto ABS deals. Exhibit 6, he says, deep subprime weighted average FICO score below 550. I think you want to look at that. I think you want to see that one. Deep subprime, again, 550 or below. How many of these deals are there? New deep subprime lenders, and then the traditional deep subprime lender. 2010, again, 5%. 2016, 30, and is that 30 plus 2% or just 30%, whatever. This means, like, and I made this prediction actually a long time ago, years ago, back when I defaulted on my own credit card debt in 2009. Or maybe it was it 10? I don't remember. I said the pool of people with good credit will be dwindling. You're going to kick them all out of their houses. They're going to have horrible credit scores. They're going to default on their loans, everything, because they're going to be so in debt. And the years will keep going by, and they'll get more in debt. And that's exactly what's happening. Less disposable income. Prices around us are rising on things that the Federal Reserve just doesn't seem to consider when it looks at its stats and tells us how inflation's decent and all this crap. You look at the price of food or gas or energy? No, we don't look at that. Nope. So what do? You're a financial institution. Your primary way of making money, and this will either make you or break you, is to loan to people. You must get people to loan to and earn that interest. Good or bad, high or low, doesn't matter. Just give us some people to loan to. That's how we survive. So when that started getting taken away, I said you're going to start seeing FICO scores. We used to require this. Now we'll accept this. Here you go. Here's the keys to your new boat or whatever the hell you want. Here it is. And then we've had a bunch of defaults. That would have been considered subprime, but we changed our credit rating system now. So let's lower it again. We need more people. We're not selling, and there's plenty of people who want stuff. So let's lower the standard again. Oh, we got some sales. Good for us. Good for us. And it's good up front. And they make their payments at first. They're making them until they don't. And then they become a statistics. We're going to come repo the boat or the jet ski or the car or whatever it is, which hurts ultimately the financial institution later on, not up front. So those days are coming soon. But lenders are starting to get worried and are tightening lending standards for the first time since the Great Recession. Note, shows net percentage of respondents reporting tightening standards on consumer loans for new and used autos. Negative numbers indicate loosening standards. So if you want to look at that chart, this is from 2011 to almost right now, in April 2017. Again, negative numbers, so anything below here in this pink area, that would be considered subprime, right? Or not necessarily, I mean, maybe subprime or not, but bottom line, they've loosened lending standards, so they've allowed the lower FICO score people to get something, get a loan. And as of, looks like June of last year, they finally said, we need to tighten up on that. And then something happened. Maybe they realized, whoa, we're not selling again, and this is happening urgently. We wanted better credit score people, but we realized we don't have them, so let's lower that number back down again. Here we go. Okay, back down. Okay, we feel kind of good now. We think we found the sweet spot. Let's tighten up and do the right thing again. Up. Now we're up here again, but it petered off and went sideways. So it's at this level. So whatever this level is, which it's saying here is about 10%, 11%. While that's there, that's just their loosening standards, right? So that last part where it's above the line, the main line, indicates they're not going after subprime as much as they were. But as I've said, we've got years and years and years now of where they did. And all that's going to have to, be dealt with. They pay for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. By the time the car is 4 or 5 years old, and I got a 7 and 8 year loan, I'm done with this car. Hey, people who gave me, come get the car. I'm not even going to fight you on it. Just come get the damn thing. But sir, you owe 3 more years of payments. You owe us thousands and thousands still. I know, but it's a 5-year-old car, a 4-year-old car. Got some problems. Yeah, just come get the thing. Okay, so they come repo it, pay the repo man, sit in the storage yard, send it to auction. I mean, there's no way this ends well. Meanwhile, none of the warnings about a flood of used car volumes about to hit the market has impacted new car volumes being pumped out by the OEMs and pushed onto dealer lots. So what you're seeing, you know how China because they didn't want to slow down. There was, too many layoffs. They didn't want people rioting, and we ain't got no work. Put all you people to work building these cities, huge cities. We're going to use them in the future. People are going to move in and everything from mall, high-rise buildings. I remember seeing on YouTube a tour through a mall in one of these ghost cities where nobody's living yet. It's just, everything's built. It's a fully functioning city. It looks like it was new, like it was just built. And they're going through the mall, and there's nobody there. Storefronts, sliding doors, yeah. And it's just empty. It's a ghost town. These ghost cities. So, why am I telling you that? Because the OEMs, the Ford, GM, the ones that make the brand new car and then give them to their dealers and say, you've got no more than 90 days to get rid of this car, or 60 days. If you don't, we start penalizing you and stuff like that. So the dealers are always out there trying to push these cars. So in other words, the OEMs, we're going to keep pushing even though the dealers don't need it, and we can clearly see they're not selling. Let's keep the factories going. We got a bunch of people we don't want to lay off. But they do that for a while, do it for a while, and realize this isn't a one-off. It's not even a two-off. This is a trend, and it ain't looking good. And all of our 20,000 Ford employees, we love you. But we're going to be cutting because this is a trend, and we're not going to keep flooding out cars when we don't even have a place to put them anymore. Okay? So, just curious. Let me see if I can Google this because I just got to know. Ford moving plant to U.S. Mexico. I'm trying to see. Can I find this? Ford cancels Mexican plant, but is still moving small car production. Ford cancels $1.6 billion Mexican plant, says Trump's rhetoric impacted decision. Right? Remember Trump, I'm saving jobs and bringing them back here? I'm trying to find out how many jobs this would have maybe created. Ford announces plan to create. Now this is article, by the way, it's January 2017, just a few months ago. Ford announces plan to create 700 new U.S. jobs. Ford announces plan to create 700 new U.S. jobs. Yes! Breaking news a few months later, right now. Ford plans to let go 20,000 people. Net gain? None. Net loss? 20,000 minus 700. Because if he's still going to somehow create 700 new jobs, that'd be 19,300 technically that Ford had to cut. So yeah, I want to wish, as I said before, and I mean it though. I mean it when I say I'm not being sarcastic. I wish Donald Trump a lot of luck. They are out to remove this man like nobody's business. And as I said before with the whole John Teeter theory thing, if they succeed in removing him, I think of John Teeter saying there was what caused the Civil War, like what really started. There was a problem with the elections. That's all he would say. This would be a problem with the elections. We elected this man and they still got him out. Right? Would that not be truthful? Yes, it would. And he sent his family, supposedly on this timeline, to Omaha, Nebraska. And my wife does not, under any circumstances, like cold weather. But I keep telling myself, if this crap goes down like that, and that were to happen, I think I want to be where John Teeter's family went. He put him up there for a reason. And he was in Florida, according to his story, if you believe it, when this whole Civil War broke out. He was living in Florida. So he knew how Florida was and still decided, I want to get you guys out of here and move up to Nebraska. Go ahead and go up there. So that's on back of old Snippy's mind. If they successfully remove this president, he's the 25th Amendment, he's got early stages Alzheimer's, then I'm going to have to seriously consider getting the hell out of here. Like Evelyn, I know you don't want to go up there, you hate the cold, but we're going up there. We are going up there. And I don't want to have to do that. So I hope that's nonsense. I hope nothing ever happens like that. But it's not, would you agree? It's not looking good, is it? Anyways, take care.